It's a typo.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's a loaded.
That's right. A special and a special category. Jail.
Oh. Previously, I used to work on a lot of the Northern Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, run a landlord practice. One like
Oh, okay. So yeah, you actually did.
Yeah,
Special purpose.
I've been going up a lot of clothes down.
And that's it. And you can, theoretically buy it with price stocks in the ground.
Well, welcome. I'm Murray Dial. I'm the Dean of the Merrick School of Business, and I just want to welcome everybody to this event tonight. We've got a live audience, and it's really good that we've got events back on campus again, and we're going to do more next semester. But I also want to say I acknowledge our virtual audience as well, and welcome you all, and thank you for coming. And thank particularly our sponsors. We'll say more about that later. Baltimore Community Lending are not only a sponsor but a great partner in this in this event, and M&T Bank, who you hear a lot more about, we're very grateful for their sponsorship and also considerable amount of work that they've done in sort of helping us get this program together. Now most of you know something about University of Baltimore, and I'm not going to make a pitch in the University of Baltimore, because I think this event is actually going to show you what the University of Baltimore is about. And I think I just would have you observe maybe three things. One is that you'll see that our students and alumni, our teams here, are actually getting something done, and that's one of the things that we stand for, getting things done. Learning and doing business is also about getting things done. You also see, a considerable range of ages and also status of our contestants, and we have alumni, we've got undergraduates, we've got graduate students, and one of the things we really do stand for is, I think we do really represent, is lifelong learning. And the third thing is that, and if President Schmoke were here, he always makes a speech, always starts off that we're not only the University of Baltimore, that we're the University for Baltimore. And this program is very important for us in being the University for Baltimore. We recognize that years of systematic barriers have prevented development of some of our neighborhoods, and we are committed to really trying to readdress that and working with our partners to do that. So this program is also about that and represents that. So I'm going to pass this on to Seema Iyer, who is the mastermind behind this program, and she's going to take you through, introduce it, and run the. I leave everything to her to run, so she can run the rest of the program. So thank you very much for coming, and for the contestants and the team, thank you very much for all the efforts you've done in developing this, and I'm rooting for every one of you, okay? So thanks.
Thank you so much, Dean DL, and so good to see all of you. My name is Seema Iyer, and I have the great privilege of being the director of the Real Estate and Economic Development Program here at the University of Baltimore. So again, good to see all of you in person, good to see many of you on live stream. Tonight is a night of intersections. We are bringing together our fellows and our community members, our bankers and our potential businesses, our academics and our students, and really all of us here tonight who care about all of our pitchers, our fellows, and who care about our city, because that's really what this is all about. That's where the M&T Bank Real Estate Fellows Program here at the University of Baltimore came about. Making those connections so that we close the gaps for so many disparities that we see in our neighborhoods, and that's what we all care about. I know that all communities in Baltimore want to see improvement in their neighborhoods. They want to see improvement in their housing stock or commercial options or cultural amenities. And what you'll find out tonight from our fellows is that they themselves represent those resources that our communities need. The passion that they have, the knowledge that they've gained, both as students and as fellows, and the entrepreneurial spirit that they're bringing to the table. For the past 4 months, our fellows have been learning about the development process, meeting local experts, which some of you are in the room or on live stream, and you can see them in the program that you have, meeting with experts with a broad range of skills in the big spectrum of real estate industry, from construction to brokerage to management. I think we had a lot of fun, but more importantly, you'll see how each of the teams took everything that they experienced and synthesized their vision into both a community-oriented and business-minded project. We will all be better off for having witnessed this night. I do want to thank M&T Bank for being such a stalwart supporter of the Pitch for $1 Million competition over the years. They came in from the very beginning, which was just a back-of-the-envelope idea that we shared with the Baltimore Community Lending as our partner, Watch and Brutes, and of course, Sean Russell, who is here. Sean spent every session that we had together with our fellows, and just imagine if you want to become a developer and you have access to a senior loan officer for 10 weeks, what you could get done. I also want to thank the Neighborhood Design Center and Sophie Morley and Carla Brent. I don't know if Carla's here. I think Sophie's online, for spending so much time with our fellows on their designs. Thanks to Hiro Amano, I don't know how anything gets done without you, and the team at Open Range for making sure that this is a seamless hybrid event. There's so much planning that goes on to the technology. It's amazing. And thanks to so many units here at the University of Baltimore. The Dean's Office has been very supportive. The foundation team, Leslie Joyce, has been fully supportive of the fellowship program. Thanks, of course, to all of our judges, who I will introduce when we get to the pitches. And I really want to thank all of our fellows. You're going to learn much more about our fellows when they give their presentation, so I'm going to introduce them from a perspective as their mentor and as their faculty member, which is possibly a little bit more informal. So Thomas Anderson, who is in our Real Estate and Economic Development program, is one of the most thoughtful and thought-provoking students I've ever had. The pitch he's going to make for you tonight has been a passion project for him for many years, which you'll find out about, including when he was in my class for Real Estate Principles last fall. I have no doubt that many of you in the audience will join him in his passion after tonight. Go get him, Thomas, tonight. Bob Izuma is a master's candidate in global affairs and human security. Bob truly brings an international perspective to the work here in Baltimore. He has done so much work around the world, so he looks at Baltimore with such a fresh perspective. He's so conscientious about creating economic development opportunities for everyone that he immersed himself into the Southwest Partnership area, as you will see. He will also bring you along with his vision for the Afro-Caribbean hub. Good luck to you, Bob. Wesley Hawkins. Where's Wesley? There you are. What can you say about Wesley? He has done it all. He's an author, he's a mentor himself, someone who gets into what we might say good trouble. He brought such a real perspective to this program, reminding us all that real estate literally impacts our lives daily, for better or for worse, and he's here to do something positive about that. Good luck to you tonight, Wesley. Amber Jones. Amber. Oh, Amber is a powerhouse of wisdom and great ideas. She is not only a great student, I had her in many of my classes, but really challenged herself in her own career so far to link up her own background and passion and change how communities experience their neighborhoods. Watch out, everyone. You will be so impressed with what she's gonna do. Go get him, Amber. Lamar is back there, Lamar. Lamar is, you always have to have the quiet one in the group. Lamar was our quiet one in the group who always chimed in at the end to have the perfect way to synthesize and kind of close out our conversation. He is listening intently, absorbing, and brings his unique background to the group that he became a part of with Wesley and Amber. His story will inspire you tonight. Break a leg, Lamar. And Naquan Willett. Oh my God, he is both a Radcliffe Fellow and a Bob Parsons Scholar here at UB. He is always involved in so many ways in the Merrick School of Business. Everywhere I go, there's Naquan. He is so curious about why certain things will happen in certain neighborhoods, and you'll see from his proposal that he really took that to heart when listening to what the community really wanted and needed in Park Heights. Good luck to you, Naquan. Such a privilege to get to know all of you this semester, I think we'll call it, last couple of months, and I really am appreciative of everything that you've done. So I want to move on to some brief remarks from our partner, from Baltimore Community Lending, and have you hear from Watch and Bruce, who is the president and CEO, but couldn't be here in person tonight.
Good evening. I want to thank the University of Baltimore Real Estate and Economic Development Program for the partnership we've had over the years, serving as one of your sponsors for this fellowship program. Now that we are in the third year of the program, we are very excited about starting this new cohort. We look forward to continuing this relationship. Baltimore Community Lending has served as a mentor and coach to the fellows and serve as judges for the pitch competition. As a community development financial institution, CDFI for short, we are committed to supporting the fellows during their fellowship to build their capacity, as well as being mentored and trained. We are equally committed to supporting the graduates to ensure their continued success and access to Baltimore Community Lending's financial resources. So with that, we thank you very much for the opportunity to continue sponsoring this program that will make a big difference in the lives of the fellows and our community at large. Welcome again, and congratulations to this year's fellows. Thank you.
And to give us even more inspiring words, I want to turn it over to our keynote speaker this evening, Probably someone who needs no introduction, but Augie Chiesera is M&T Bank President for the Greater Baltimore Chesapeake region and oversees more than 2,300 bank employees in Maryland. Mr. Chiesera completed his bachelor's degree from the School of Management at Boston University and then a master's in business administration from the University of Chicago. He joined M&T Bank as a toddler in 1993 and worked his way up to where he is today, regional president in 2013. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for your support.
Seema, thanks so much for that introduction. That was really thoughtful. And really, welcome to all of you physically, welcome to all of you virtually to our Pitch for $1 Million. Seema had mentioned we partnered to really start this program about 3 years ago. And it's a pretty proud spot to be. And I really got to thank our head of real estate, Barb, because I know you played a pretty heavy role for us, Barb, in getting involved in this. And you've done a pretty awesome job, so thank you. And Seema, it's so good to see you and connect with you. I remember the first time we met was in this building, gosh, probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was part of the whole Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance, and you were going through your vital signs report. And what struck me about what you did with that report is you took data and you brought it, whoop, I accidentally moved something here. There we go. You took data and you brought it alive. And you see the visuals, you see the impact. And what really struck me is you could visually see what happens when we underinvest in neighborhoods in a very visual way. And I'll never ever forget that experience. And what's also interesting is the critical role that neighborhood development plays in the economic success of our community here in Baltimore. It's funny, today I had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time with Reverend Hathaway at Union Baptist Church. He's got a Head Start program that he began back in he didn't begin it in 65, but the Head Start program began at the church back in 1965. And it was remarkable to hear him explain the impact on healthy environments on child development. And it isn't just the family environment, it's also the physical environment. It's how our children, and what are the environments that our children are being raised in, what do the housing stock look like, what is not only the eyesore of vacancy, but also the health risks that come along from vacant properties and so on. And what was remarkable is he said very clearly that neighborhood and community stability are hand in hand. Now, a shameless plug. So this year, I'm actually chairing the Live Baltimore birthday bash. It happens in July. And one of the neat things about Live Baltimore is it supports folks living in the city in particular. And what's remarkable is in 2020, I think you saw the results of the census, the Baltimore population declined. And it wasn't, it wasn't a surprise because growth rarely happens by accident, but I'll tell you it was a disappointment because we will not see stronger communities or lower taxes or real economic progress until our city begins adding residents. And as I had said, growth doesn't happen by accident, and what's remarkable is we talked about this a lot with the Baltimore Development Corporation, with our regular economic development, our 10-year economic development plan called Baltimore Together. And we highlighted specifically the importance of population growth in the city to drive economic development. And the truth is, population growth is only possible when you have the housing stock for families to grow into. And the work that each of our M&T Bank real estate fellows learned about today is how you begin doing economic development with real estate development as a cornerstone of that growth. The pitches we're going to hear tonight, I know, are focused specifically on development in middle market neighborhoods, which are going to be critical to driving the economic success here in our community. And look, we at M&T Bank, put our money where our mouth is. This year alone, we've got over $80 million invested in 12 projects, which are constructing over 1,500 housing units, affordable housing units for seniors and families in Baltimore City alone. I know we from M&T are pretty excited to hear about your plans, how you can help drive that development and growth as well, because we can't do it alone. Thanks again for doing your part. to help Baltimore grow. Congratulations on being one of the finalists, and best wishes as you share your pitches. Thank you.
Thank you, Augie. I'm going to turn down the volume because I messed up Hero's life. I'm telling you. Is that better? Thank you. Sorry about that. It's so funny, Augie, that you actually heard me give that vital signs speech because you never know. You never know who's going to hear it, what it's going to do. For those of you that don't know, I wear two hats here. I oversee the real estate program, which is the academic side of what I do, but I also oversee the Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance. And these two programs literally marry all of my skills because I can see visually in the neighborhoods, and when I go to neighborhoods, I can hear what they want. And they want our fellows, 100%. They want our fellows to be successful. We all want you to be successful. So no matter what happens tonight, you guys are all winners. And even if you don't, potentially become the winner tonight, I know you will do what you've set out to do at some point. So we're behind you 100% of the way. But we are gonna get started. All right, so let me introduce our judges. Mark Davis is here, the Vice President, Specialty Lending at M&T Bank. Mark, thank you very much for being here. Scott Dempsey at the other end is the Senior Vice President and Associate Director for Affordable Housing Vertical M&T Bank. Thank you, Scott, for being here. Tony Gross is Senior Vice President for JLL and also a member of the BCL Board. Barb Simmons is Group Vice President at M&T Bank and also a member of our Real Estate Advisory Board. Thank you. Zed Smith is COO of the Cordish Company and a member of the Dean's Advisory Board here at Merrick School of Business. Clarence Snug is Chief Operating Officer for Baltimore Community Lending. And Sid Roros is Senior Vice President at M&T Bank. Thank you, Sid, for being here. All right, so let me explain what's going to happen. Everybody ready? Sit down, get comfortable. We're going to get started. Each of our fellows is going to have 10 minutes. I'm going to be sitting there with a little 1-minute warning and your time is up warning. They have practice. They're going to do it. They're going to be awesome. And then when their pitches are done, the judges will be able to ask them some questions. The judges have way more information about their proposals than you're going to see in the presentation itself. So they're going to have, because there's just too much to cover in 10 minutes. So the fellows have given them way more background information that they have access to. So after their presentation, you'll have 5 or 7 minutes to get the judges to answer some questions. So fellows, if you forgot to say something during the presentation, that's when you want to say it in your 5-7 minute talk. Once the pitches are over, all of us are going to go outside, and we're all going to eat, and the judges are going to stay in here. And while we're doing out there in the reception, we invite you all to join us. They will be deliberating on who's going to be the 2022 winner. So, without further ado, Thomas, you were the first one that got picked out of the hat, so go get him.
You're Thomas, right?
That's me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good to have you here this evening in support of us. My name is Thomas Anderson, and I'm a student here at the University of Baltimore. And I'm here seeking $450,000 for transformative student housing for those who are formerly incarcerated. Now, studies show that America has a serious mass incarceration problem. In fact, 2.2 million people is presently behind prison bars in America today. America spends $81 billion annually for mass incarceration. In Maryland, it's a little over 36,000 people that's presently incarcerated. Now, 68% of them just so happen to be black. 68%. Now, there are two major reasons why mass incarceration is so prevalent today. That is the lack of education and the abject poverty. Understand that just like a snake bite, when you want a cure for a snake bite, you find that cure in the snake. The problem or the solution to the problem of mass incarceration is found in the problem itself. Education is very, very powerful. And the one thing that can lower mass incarceration and lower abject poverty is, in fact, education. Now, the higher your education is, the lower the recidivism rate. The higher your education is, the higher income potential you are able to make. Education is key to lowering recidivism in mass incarceration. Unfortunately, legislation has realized that. And in 2020, the legislation, federal and state, has passed bills to allow Pell Grants to be used by those who are presently incarcerated. That means by 2023, 463,000 people who are incarcerated will have access to the Pell Grant. And Maryland has allowed 7 schools to enter into the Pell Grant system, into the prison system, to teach those students who desires higher learning. Now, many of these students will be released before they actually receive their degree, which might create another problem, because oftentimes when they are released, they don't have a conducive environment to go to so that they can continue their academic career. That's where the Manumission House comes in. The Manumission House is not a transitional house, but transformative housing, student housing for those who desire to continue their education upon release. We would like to build our first Manumission House in the Oliver community. We've talked with the people there. They've accepted us with open arms because they understand the importance of this project and how their community wants to play a role in the building of people. Now, in the Oliver community, we plan to build 12 units. Each unit will be, each unit will be 400 square feet, and it would have all the amenities necessary to assist those students in the development and the continued education that they need not to recidivate. Now, the financials. I'm requesting $450,000. The overall construction cost, $2.7 million. That's a big gap. $2,250,000. Well, how do I plan to get that? My strategy is to use federal and state and local grants and subsidies. The Barony Corps, DHDC, LIPA, low income tax credits, and other sources. I have other people like Ben Siegel from Baltimore Development Corporation who will be working with me to raise the other necessary money to create this project. Now, this is going to be an ongoing project. That means there's going to be continual operating costs. Every year, it will cost me $325,000 to operate the Manumission House. The plan for sustaining this, again, we've created within the building a small little coffee kiosk that can work in conjunction with the community, providing the community coffee, helping those who are a part of the college program to get work skills, so on and so forth. We also will be having rental stipends. Now, I have a letter from the University of Baltimore Second Chance College program that says that they can afford to pay rental stipends for those students who are going to be a part of that. And then you also have Pell Grants that provide housing costs for their students. And we will also seek out grants and subsidies. Why me? This here, that's my prison ID. I was in prison for 22 and a half years. Why me? Because I am there. This is my University of Baltimore ID.
Yeah.
Why me? Because I know the pain that they feel being in prison and wanting a chance to make something out of their life. Why me? Because my past pains have created me for this purpose. But I stand on this stage, I don't stand alone. I have supporters, seawall developers. They're gonna walk me through every step of the process. Neighborhood design centers help me with the floor plans. Thomas Donnelly, my lawyer, he's right out here in the audience. Community, the People's Association community, right there holding the camera. We have the Baltimore Development Corporation. UB, Goucher, and Towson all wrote letters on my behalf saying that their students will come. Southwest Builders will be the contractor to help build. Therapeutic Wellness Services will be the mental health service for every resident that comes through that program. Black Butterfly will help those who desire to be entrepreneurs to get started. I have a group of people, of supporters, that's willing to put their hand to the plow and help me get to where I need to go for these people and not for me. And so I thank you for this opportunity. If I had the $10,000, I would spend it on legal fees, thanks to my lawyer. I would spend it on legal fees, architectural design, and pre-development. Thank you very much. Questions, anyone?
I want to thank you for making me look up the definition of recidivism. I didn't know what it was until I read this. So thank you for that. So there is a need, obviously, that's going to kick in July of 2023.
Correct.
And you're talking about 400+ thousand people,
Across this country.
With a lot of government programs, they're appropriated or approved every year. Is this going to be an ongoing program, or is this going to be approved one year, then it's up to Congress to approve it every year? What the background is? Because if you don't want to be subject to something that has to be approved every year. That's my...
Only thing that I will be, the grants, the legislation has been passed. It was a pilot program in 2015 under President Obama. President Trump allowed it to continue on, and it became rule in the legislation, full support, and now the Pell Grant is allowed for those who are presently incarcerated from 1994. So there's been a big span of time where we haven't been able to get education. So this is going to be an ongoing opportunity, and Manumission House plans to be in the forefront of providing conducive housing for those to continue their education.
I have a question for you as well.
Yes, sir.
You identified the site that you would like to do the house. Is that entity that would build the house a LLC, or is that the nonprofit, or does the nonprofit come later?
The LLC would build the house and the nonprofit would lease the building itself, separating the two.
Great presentation, just
Thank you.
very well articulation of the need. I guess my question is, have you thought about scaling this up as far as, this would be the first one, and then looking to, leverage the sources that you've identified to do 2, 3, 4, and just keep it going forward?
Yes, sir. This is going to be, as the gentleman said, this is going to be a gigantic need in the near future with 463,000 people being eligible for the Pell Grant. In Maryland, 7 colleges, as you've seen, will be participating in prison education. Many of those colleges aren't located here in Baltimore. This location in the Oliver community will tailor or will cater to the needs of those students who go to Towson University, Goucher College, University of Baltimore. Then I'd like to eventually branch out to PG County and to the Eastern Shore, because the University of Maryland Eastern Shore will be have a facility that will be teaching prison education in the Eastern Shore Correctional Institution, and Georgetown and Bowie State will be teaching in the PG DC area. So I'd like to definitely have those 2 olive branches extending out to those communities.
I think you have a microphone right there next to you.
Can you talk a little bit about the wraparound services that you're envisioning to support the folks that are living in these houses?
Yes, sir. The wraparound services, I've spoken with Fight Back as a nonprofit organization. They teach computer literacy. And one of the things that we lack most is computer skills when we come out of prison. And so they will offer their computer literacy service. I've spoken with James Bond, who will provide the workforce development from, and there's all those letters are in the portfolio, a workforce development piece for all of those residents that's here. The wraparound services, the mental health service will be provided by Therapeutic Wellness Services.
Are you coordinating all of those services together to make sure that they?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
Thomas, have you seen this project that works from other place?
There's one other place where a project of this magnitude is, and that's in California. And I couldn't afford to go there. But it's actually established by a college that teaches within the prison institution. They provided this actual service.
My other question, Thomas, is that your financial models, did you work with, say, Seawall and help you develop the financial models for your construction costs, et cetera? Is that timely, up to date?
Yes, sir, it is. I work with Southwest builders, and I worked with a friend of mine who's now my friend, who works for Seawall Development, Francesco, who worked with me tirelessly with the numbers so that I can get them right, and I hope I got them right. Yes, ma'am.
If you could use the microphone for the people on live stream.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Really great presentation. I have a question more about the long-term strategy.
Okay.
So if the intent, I'm sorry.
I think it's on, right? You're up? Oh, it's not? Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that better? Talk really loud. Okay, so is that better? Okay, thank you. So I have a question about your long-term vision and thesis and strategy. So I completely understand, kind of the vision to, sort of to make it transformative housing and your students and how the students are, going to support the education with the Pell Grant. That all makes perfect sense to me. Could you clarify and help me get my head around, okay, so the students, matriculate, go through college. For your transformative housing, is the strategy then they would, continue on and move out of the housing to let more students come in so they kind of grow and, kind of,
I'm glad you asked that question.
okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's how it will happen. We will have a 3 to 6 month grace period
Okay.
upon their graduation for them to go out and find other housing. Now, ultimately, because I want to be in real estate development as well, I like to develop apartments where once they matriculate out of the program, they can acquire an apartment there, because there's no place more discriminative than in applying for rent or an apartment somewhere. When a criminal record comes up, they're automatically disqualified for an apartment. So I would like to be able to provide an opportunity for them to also have a place to live once they graduate from college and matriculate out of the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time. And sorry for the tears, I'm passionate about this.
No, you're awesome. I told you, everyone, you're happy to be here. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, it speaks for himself. All right, judges are going to take a few minutes just to regroup yourselves, and we're going to get ready for Naquan. But I'm going to do a show and dance before I move out and just talk about who's in the room. So the best thing about the cohort project is that we now have 3 cohorts. So we have a couple of folks from prior cohorts in the room. I know Tiffany. Tiffany's here. Hello, Tiffany. Winner of our 2019 award. So if when we're all eating in the back, talk to her about the awesome stuff that she's been doing since 2019. Judges, good? And then if you want to come up, Naquan, we can get you set up. I don't know where your presentation went. Oh, I think it's coming. Oh, here, let's go.
That's not you. Which one is yours? You can just use the arrow key to go to the next slide.
Move downwards.
Yes, slide.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Give it a minute. And then I will give you your 10. Good? Good. All right, judges, when you're ready, just give me a thumbs up and we'll start, Naquan. I think that works. Otherwise, you can hear. All right. All right, everybody. Naquan. Go for it.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Naquan Willett. I'm the founder of Viable Impact Development Solutions, and my proposed project is the Park Heights Cultural Center. A little bit about myself. I'm a senior here at the University of Baltimore, as well as a member of the Entrepreneurship and Real Estate Fellows. I'm also a member of Sigma Nu Trois, which is an honor society of student entrepreneurs that are held to the highest standard of ethics, integrity, and transparency in the practice of entrepreneurship. Previously, I've assisted in the renovation and management of a 63-unit apartment complex in Washington, D.C., where I basically gained my passion for development, as well as the understanding that city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, communities face unique challenges that require unique solutions that implement community input, needs, and desires. A little bit about the community in the past. Park Heights was once the beneficiary of the streetcar industry. Its convenient positioning in Baltimore gave its neighborhoods and retail amenities easy accessibility to people going to and from work. And essentially, the neighborhoods were flourishing. But beginning in the 1960s, there were a wave of events such as the assassination of Martin Luther King, the offshoring of the industrial industry, as well as recently the Freddie Gray case in 2015, which kind of motivated an uptick in crime and a fleeing population. Today, the future is a lot brighter. Just last month alone, Park Heights Renaissance, in partnership with Penrose, opened Renaissance Row Apartments, which is an 84 affordable unit apartment complex. Woodland Gardens also started its phase 1. Pimlico hosted its 147th Preakness event, which seen an increase of 30% in bet wages from pre-pandemic levels, and hosted many first-time attendants such as myself. The community is bounded by Park Circle to the south, Northern Parkway to the north, Green Spring Avenue to the east, and Wabash Avenue to the west. This is a quick analysis of the market from a 1 mile, 3 mile, and 5 mile radius of our target lot. And this is the target lot where the Park Heights Cultural Center will be developed. It's a central location to the Park Heights community. It's 12 minutes from downtown, walking distance from the new Renaissance Road development I just spoke of. And ultimately, it will provide a convenient location for community residents. This is a skyline view, which highlights the central location of the lot. And the Park Heights Cultural Center will have an open rooftop, which provides a 360 view of this skyline and the Park Heights community as it grows today and in the future. That brings us to the Park Heights Cultural Center. It will be a 3-story structure providing 2 floors of workforce development, focusing in areas such as information technology, finance, registered nursing assistant, and maybe even commercial development, preparation, and assessments. And the first floor will offer rental space for private events, birthday parties, weddings, community events, as well as internally hosted events, which will include bingo night at the Cultural Center, hosted 2 days a week, Wednesday and Thursday, giving away $350 in prize giveaways every event in the form of prepaid debit cards. Child time at the Cultural Center, hosted Monday through Friday, 2 to 6:30 p.m., which will allow safe space for kids to come receive tutoring from college students at local universities, inspiring to be in childcare and teaching, as well as video gameplay with the PlayStation 5, and just building social skills after this long pandemic. Everybody's been out. Another interesting point about child time, it's 4% cheaper for the cost of parents to send their kids every week than it is the average cost of daycare in Baltimore for kids 5 years and older. So this is a value for the community and the city. Talent Night at the Cultural Center will host up-and-coming entertainment performers in comedy, poetry and literature, music, and even fashion. Attendants will have the opportunity to participate and receive complimentary meals and an open bar. And small businesses will also have the opportunity to advertise either on our stage, podiums, or during intermission of entertainment performances, give a pitch of their products and services. Sip and Paint at the Cultural Center will be a unique, fun sip and paint experience. With your ticket comes complimentary drinks for sip. And it's just a good time for individuals and couples to come and enjoy sip and paint. Last is Game Day at the Cultural Center. This will be hosted Sunday 1 to 4 on a Ravens bye week, and scheduled when the Ravens are scheduled to play otherwise. 3 hours of NFL impact, as well as complimentary open bar refreshments and finger food provided by Jay's Catering. Event startup costs will be a little under $28,000. We're giving away over $67,000 in annual prize giveaways through bingo, and we're contributing over $231,000 in annual wages and local business services. This is a quick summary of the events. And these event costs, as well as, of course, the profits will fluctuate. For example, there's some costs that we won't incur if, for example, there's 50 attendants, but we will incur it if there's 58. So this is basically assuming that we have 58 attendants per event on average. And Park Heights Renaissance, as a part of our partnership, will establish a community day in which they will either fund part of the event costs or the ticket purchases, and this will provide a discount to community members who want to attend the event at a more attractive rate. And that's still to be determined as well. Another thing about our building tenants, our partnership with Park Heights Renaissance will also provide program development as far as helping student recruitment for our workforce tenants. So this will also offer tenants a space to occupy as well as extra value for cutting marketing costs for student enrollment and operational costs for program development and administrative assistance. Each tenant will pay $2,240 a month, which is in line with the median rent of $158 per square foot. Total project cost will be $1,374,480. Most of that will be towards our construction costs as well as our contingency because it's a tough environment in construction. And our development fee as well was a little high, but that's ultimately to serve the debt service while the building is in the construction phases. And essentially, our $10,000 investment will be used to acquire the lot as well as the permits and necessary approvals to build the Park Heights Cultural Center. And we're going to receive investment from Park Heights Renaissance of grant funding from the 9 programs you see listed here. And that will bring our notes payable to a little under $990,000 at a 6% interest rate. Our annual mortgage expenses shown there. Real quick, I'll get into the phase 1 meeting, the phase 1. In phase 1, by July 10th, we plan to be like in the approval and the review phases. And realistically, we think we'll be finished with the whole project by July 17th, 2023. We've already started part of the phase 1, so we're already kind of in the processes. This is our 6-year pro forma. Just like a quick summary on this, our operating income year 1 before debt service will be $160,000, a little over that, and net income will be a little over $51,000. This doesn't include the advertising of small businesses and the fact that we will use the rooftop as additional rental space. And based on these numbers, by year 5, based on our operating income before debt service, we could sell the building a little over $1.6 million and offer the investor buying the building a 12% cap rate, and that's significantly higher than the average. Partners, advisors, and contacts. I'm gonna show this brief because I think I'm running out of time. Park Heights Renaissance, biggest partner, they're gonna play a lot of roles. And essentially, every partner here plays a major role in each phase of the construction process. And some partners play a huge role in every part of the construction process. Morris and Ritchie will help with architectural drawings, and the list goes on, but we can talk more about that later. Project collateral, we have sample surveys from the community here. Everyone kind of had mixed ideas of what the building should offer, but everyone kind of agreed workforce development and a space for people to come that's productive, positive, and allows for a good time. This is a letter of interest / engagement from Park Heights Renaissance, essentially highlighting our ability to take different community stakeholders, bring their different ideas together to create a viable project that will be feasible in the long term. This is a community asset map, just showing all of the things that's going on in Park Heights, because I just don't have enough time to cover it here in 10 minutes. Who's ready to invest in the Renaissance?
7 seconds to spare. Excellent.
Great.
Naquan, question for you. You talked about the site. I know where the site is. You had an $8,000 acquisition cost. How did you determine that number?
That's basically through the conversation with like Park Heights Renaissance. It's not really a exact quote, but I'm confident with our community connection that we'll be able to acquire it at that cost. A lot of it is, sorry about that, a lot of that is a process and like proving to the people who are selling you the lot that you have community backing, so.
For you. In your startup costs, you've got a down payment of $385. Mm-hmm. How do you propose to come up with that as this project goes along?
Right. So our partnership with Park Heights Renaissance, they will be doing the applying for the $375,000, and those are the 9 programs you see listed there. They're going to apply for those and then use it to fund our project. The $10,000 comes from here tonight if we win this competition.
Okay, I see now. I understand. All right, thank you.
No problem.
quick question. Great presentation.
Thank you.
You know, childcare is obviously a huge need. I was just curious, and you know, it can be difficult with insurance and these other things. Have you thought about partnering with other organizations like a Boys and Girls Club or something like that?
Yeah, I would definitely prefer that actually. I wouldn't want to go through the whole process of getting the permit, but I'm willing to do it because it is a need. But if we could partner up with Boys and Girls, CC Jackson recreation centers in the community, as well as the Tawanda Recreation Center, if they're willing to help, we'll partner up with them. So yeah, definitely.
So, Mr. Willett, thank you very much for your vision for Park Heights. We really do appreciate it. I think you mentioned on the survey document, it shows on the event summary, that there are 5 event categories that are sort of driving the operation of the center. I wanted to try to understand how you selected those, but more importantly, I want to understand the assumptions that were made under the frequency, because those are some big numbers. I think it totals 549 activities in a year, and that's a big number. And so, you know, you start right out in year 1 at that level. So I'm trying to understand, sort of size that up with what the community said it needed and how much real demand there is that would generate that much activity.
That's a great point. We had to keep everything kind of consistent just to be conservative with the financial modeling. But essentially, this is based on what we got from community engagement. People wanted a comedy club, people were saying a pool hall, people were definitely saying bingo, basically different activities. So we said, okay, we can't be one spot and offer all of those different things, but we can be flexible and provide those different events. So as far as like coming up with the cost and the frequency, the costs are based on basically us getting different vendor quotes and things of that nature, but the frequency is more so just to have a base as far as like how consistent we're going to be throwing the events and how much it will cost every year, and to see if we could do that. But we would base that off of if we're getting participation in the events as well as community feedback when the events are hosted. And also, it won't, even if we throw these events, some of these event costs are based on attendance. So if we have, as far like 20 attendance, that cost will go down like significantly as well. But there's certain costs that are like attendance based to per attendant. Hope that answers your question. No problem.
One more question? If I could continue on with what Clarence started, so, you know, his focal point is, you know, vendors and frequency and, you know, how frequent these events. So if you could kind of continue this and translate that thought into your pro forma. So to be very specific, you have a year 1 pro forma that is showing annual venue space revenue. So help me understand, is that rent from your selected tenants, or are these admission costs?
These are admission costs, admission revenue, and then if you see below vacancy, that's like the actual cost incurred to host that event. And then we have net revenue, which is after the costs are taken away from hosting those events. So annual venue space revenue is attendance revenue. And then with the bingo event specifically, attendance will come with a buy-in of 4 bingo cards. So you may see $15 attendance cost, but essentially each attendant will pay $27 because they're going to participate in bingo as well. So there's going to be a requirement to buy the bingo cards.
Okay, so their admission and that, so their admission cost and that sort of assimilates with your other chart of frequency and events. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. The event summary, it's actually all connected in the spreadsheet.
We have a question. One more. Are you from this area?
I'm not from Baltimore.
You're not. Well, that's a strike against you.
No, I've learned that.
So have you talked to any banks as far as the loan? And what kind of feedback have you gotten?
I've spoken to Innovative Works. They said that they love they usually invest in projects of this nature, but really nothing too serious. I've also entertained like going the opportunity zone route, because like with our finances, if we had like a preferred dividend rate, we can kind of cut our debt service. Like if we had a preferred dividend of like 8%, for example. That would like cut our debt service. So we have entertained it, but we're really just committed to what we've been offered. This is a great opportunity from BCL, so we've been just disciplined on this.
Thank you, Naquan.
Thank you, everybody.
Excellent job, and great idea. So while we give our judges a minute, I also want to welcome some of our other faculty from the University of Baltimore. Thank you for being here. Kate Demarest is here. Good to see you. Obviously, our dean is here. And any other students here? We have students, thanks to our students Danielle and Jamira out in the hall for manning the doors. There's so many doors out there. Any other University of Baltimore students here tonight? So you can see the wide range of folks that are in the room. Other mentors, let's see, do we have mentors in the room that helped our fellows? Tiffany, of course, was not only a previous fellow, but also a mentor, so pay it forward. Michael Bainham? All right, we're gonna count Michael Bainham as one of our, thank you, Michael, good to see you. And Nicole Battle is in the back. Thanks you, Nicole, for being here from get-go. All right. Bob, come on up. We're going to get you set up and wait for the judges to get their bearings. I think I got it, Hero. Is this right? All right. Look, I'm learning.
So how do I go front and back?
All right, so we'll turn this up, and then you can either use this button and possibly this one. You good?
Good.
You good?
I'm good.
We're just going to wait for the judges to give. How's everybody feeling? The fellows that are done are like, I'm feeling great. All right, judges, are we good? Okay, everybody, Bob Izuma. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to be here. As you can see from my slides, I'm going to present on the African Caribbean Food Hub. That is my proposal. And that is exactly where I envision that to be situated, 1411 Baltimore Street. That is the, everybody should take note, that is the new African Caribbean Food Hub coming soon. These are just the report contents. I'm going to go down in this order, and that's a visual map of the 4 different, these are the neighborhoods that make up the Southwest Partnership. For those of you that don't know the area very well, as you can already tell, I'm not from Baltimore, but I'm invested heavily in Baltimore. So let's go. So the executive summary, the project outline. This is going to be an African Caribbean food hub. There's going to be a key anchor restaurant. It's going to have a commercial kitchen and also a lounge, indoor, outdoor lounge. That's a description of the area. The company that is going to be engaged in this is called GRIP, Global Real Estate Partners. And I have partners that are going to be on this with me. These are invested partners. Southwest Partnership, Greywood LLP. It's a real estate development company. They are very well part of this. Presidential Brand, that's one of my consultants. And West Baltimore Street. West Baltimore Street, for those of you that don't know West Baltimore Street, it runs all the way into downtown. So this is a a very good picture of West Baltimore streets, what it looks like. This is the perfect location to have this restaurant. And why do I say that? I say that because I made a conscious effort to be invested in Baltimore. So what I did was immediately after I got accepted into this program, I decided to get an internship with Southwest Partnership. That's a community development corporation in Southwest Baltimore. So why did I do that? Because I wanted to really learn about the community I'm talking about. I had to be invested in that community. I walked the community. I had tours in that community. So I know almost every block in that community. So this is an architectural view of what the food hub is going to look like. This is a 3-level, the first level, the second level, and the third level, though it has a basement as well. The first level is going to be the anchor restaurant. The second level is going to be an incubator, kind of, so where up-and-coming restaurants that are not well established can also hone their skills and market themselves to the community. Then the third floor will be a lounge, which can also be used as an event center. So that is thanks to Neighborhood Development Center, Sophie and Dakala. So Sophie is watching online. Thank you very much for your assistance. So these are some other architectural renderings of what it's going to look like. I think Dr. Sima made us realize that this is that the judges are going to be bankers. So we've focused on the financial analysis. So the judges, they all have my financial analysis. This was where I had the most, I struggled the most, but with the help of people like Sean, BCL, and some other people, I finally got to put this together, and this is really very good. I was impressed when I saw the final. I couldn't believe I was the one that did this, because at first it was a struggle. But thanks to all those that helped me in this. So the numbers all make sense, they all add up. I can explain them with any questions asked. I know the numbers. So there was an error in this one, so I told Seema, I'm going to give you guys the update, the judges. So instead of 100,000 there's going to be 500,000. So these are the rents and assumptions, how I'm going to make the money, to pay the cash flows, to pay back the loan. The market overview. These are a good demographic of the area, the racial demographics and the rest of them, because they say picture is more than 1,000 words. So I decided to put all this together so that people can actually see the indicators. West Baltimore is pretty much in two neighborhoods, Union Square and Franklin Square. Those are the two neighborhoods that are kind of cut across West Baltimore. So this is the age pyramid, and that's Union Square right there. This is Franklin Square. That's the age pyramid as well, and that's the neighborhood. And during my internship at Southwest Partnership, I had the opportunity also to be attending all their committee meetings. They have what they call the Housing Committee, they have the Commercial Development Committee, they have the Historic Preservation Committee. So I actually take the minutes of all these committees. I attend all their meetings and I take the minutes. So I have an insight on what goes on in all these committees and what goes on in Southwest Baltimore. So I'm coming to this as someone that has taken the time to really learn the neighborhood, to know the neighborhood, and I'm also invested in that neighborhood. Even when my internship is going to be over, I'm going to continue as a volunteer. They already know that. I've already discussed that with the Southwest Partnership people, so, and they are ready to have me. So for me, this is a long-term effort. It's not just for this pitch alone. This is something that I'm invested in. Even when I'm done with UB, I'm in it all the way. So this is the market overview. I think I've talked about this a little bit. There's a growing population of the African diaspora in Baltimore. Maybe it's not noticeable, but there's a large population of Africans, Caribbeans, people of the African diaspora, international students. There's a lot of schools around us. So they need a place to go to. I'm invested in the African community as well. I know the community very well. So most of us, when we want to do events, we tend to go to DC, we tend to go to PG County. So I keep saying, why don't we come to Baltimore? So this is a calculated approach to bring people to Baltimore. And we have the numbers to make this a success. This is a continuation of my market overview. Main Street designation, for those of you who don't know, I have an insight because, like I said, I'm part of the meetings that go on. They've applied to become a Main Street. So for those of you who know what a Main Street is, if you become a Main Street, if you're designated as a Main Street, there are a lot of goodies that come with it, both grants, financial goodies. So the Southwest Baltimore Main Street, they've already applied for that designation, and we believe that we are going to get it. The hopes are high. And these are some of the already establishments that are already in that area. So I'm not just coming to an island to develop an island. I'm following a trend. There is a trend going on in Southwest Baltimore Street, for those of you who don't know. So these are some of the major things going on there. Live Bridge, there's an Ethiopian restaurant coming soon, Nabina. The good thing about this Ethiopian restaurant is they are all the way in Seattle, Washington, the state of Washington. So this is going to be their second location. So just figure that. Think about that for a minute. Franchise all the way in Washington. So for those of us who don't appreciate Baltimore, there's a lot of things going on here. So the Blue Line Cafe is coming in winter 2022, as you can see. Ethiopian restaurant is coming. The Lord Baltimore, actually there's an RFQ. I was part of that RFQ. There's an RFQ that have gone out by Southwest Partnership to develop the Lord Baltimore Theater. So there are a lot of good things happening in that area. So I just want everybody to come and be part of that fun. These are already established, the Biopark, of course, you know that, and the Hollins Market. The first day I went through the Hollins Market, it was really cool. So I invite for those of you who haven't gone there to just go around the neighborhood. A lot of things are happening. Good things. Like I said, I'm an intern at Southwest Partnership. That is what they do. And that's the West Baltimore Street, Main Street. Those are my partners. Actually, the business development manager of that area he's really been of tremendous help. So Curtis, I know you're watching. Thank you so much, Curtis Edie. A lot of sleepless nights trying to get these things put together. So these are other snapshots of West Baltimore. You can see a lot of stabilization going on. Okay. And like I said, this is a major partner of mine, Greywood Group. They are in it all the way. Thanks very much, Kenneth and Ashley. I appreciate all your help. And my architect, shout out to Sophie. And thank you very much.
Great presentation. Of course, the real estate broker keeps asking about acquisition costs and zoning. So I didn't hear you mention how you would get site control. How much do you anticipate paying for the acquisition of the building, and is it zoned for your use?
Yes, it's actually multi-use. It's zoned, so I've checked that out. So the hub is allowed to go on there. It's actually zoned there. The acquisition is in my, if I go back to, it's actually 93,000
Okay.
to buy. You see that right there. It's $93,000 to acquire that site as of today.
See it where?
Right there. Excuse me. Can't see very well. You see it, sir? Okay, that's right.
Other thing before I pass the mic is I'm going to tease you a little bit. On the third floor, it's 1,200 square feet. You said you could get 200 people there. That's like 6 inches per person. So I just want to make sure you get your numbers right.
They have a an outside patio as well.
Still not getting 200 people.
And also I forgot to mention, if you look at the pictures, if you look at my #1 pictures, the first picture I showed, there is a lot right here. There's an open lot. You can see that. That was
part of acquisition?
We're going to acquire that too. So that's going to be part of the outdoor. We're going to organize that for people can sit outside. So that will be an extra source of income.
I had just a follow-up question on that, your cash flow and the financial statement. For the rehab, you were showing $70,000 per year in rehab costs. So I was just curious, are you thinking of having ongoing rehab, or is that all going to be done?
If you check, that's just that is not including the electrical engineers. So when you total it, it's more than that.
Yeah, it just seems like it's ongoing throughout the life of the project versus I would think you would buy it and then rehab it and then the cost would come down rather than be $70,000 every single year. Yeah, right.
Maybe that's a typo, maybe?
No, it's not. Let me go back there again. I think I went through that. You're talking about this page, right?
No,
Next one.
So
Okay.
it's right about acquisition, $70,000 every single year. I was just.
It repeats, if there's 2 kids, you're probably 2 through 6. See it? Yeah. Rehab is 70,000.
Right there.
Yes. So that's the rehab cost. That is the cost for rehabilitation. So if you spread it across each year.
Oh, I see. Yes, so your actual rehab cost is actually greater, but you spread it out.
Correct.
Okay. Did you develop a budget, like a total cost budget of what it's going to truly cost you as opposed to how you're going to pay for it?
Yes, honestly, it's going to cost around $425K. That is about what it's going to cost from all when I talk to the developers, to the contractors, to all the people I talk to. If you want to put everything in place for it to be top notch with inflation, it's going to cost us about $425.
We got questions for this guy.
I forgot to.
Bob, just going back, you've got $500,000 in debt. You're saying your project's basically $600,000, right? Acquisition costs plus $500 in debt. So where's all this money going? Because you also have a line item for rehab costs for $70,000 a year.
The $500,000 that I'm asking is what I'm asking my lender so that I cover all my costs, pretty much. That's what I'm asking the lender, knowing fully well that the lender is not going to lend me all that I asked for. That's one of the things we learned in the program. That's my ask, but I know the lender is not going to pretty much give me the whole 500. So some of them are going to come from me in the form of equity. Believe it or not, as I'm talking, I already told, they thought I'm crazy, like Curtis. I told him, I said, I have 25,000 in I'm going to put my own money. I put my money where my mouth is. So like I said earlier, I'm not in this just for presentation purposes. I'm also all in. So I understand that the lender is not going to give me all the money that I asked for. but I've already made adequate provisions to make sure whatever the difference is, I have it.
I would just challenge you on the financial model, because
Okay.
it sounds like you're double dipping here. If I were an investor, so you've got a line item for $70,000 for ongoing rehab costs, but you also have debt service on $500,000.
Okay.
Okay? My second question
Noted.
is regarding you've got a lot of revenue tied up in these events, the event lease, almost $430,000. What kind of events, and have you done some market studies on that? Because that's the make or break here, is those events.
Yes, I have actually. At first, this wasn't supposed to be, the space upstairs was supposed to be for something else. But during my dry run pitch, the feedback I got was I should look for something more financially viable that can give me more money to cover my, yes. So after talking with my architect, we decided to make that a lounge on purpose, because we know that as a lounge and as a bar, you're making money, but it's also an event space. So let's say in the African community, for example, there's no weekend that there's no activity going on, one form of activity or the other. We like to celebrate a lot of events. For those of you that are kind of connected to my community, a baby, for example, if you have a baby, it's a big celebration. Everybody comes in, everybody celebrates it. Any little thing, the smallest thing is a celebration. It happens every day in DC, it happens in PG County. This summer alone, I've gone to 3 events already. So that attraction, in my business attraction model, I'm convincing people, instead of going to PG County or going to Hyattsville, come to Baltimore City. So the events are not, my problem is if there are going to be a lot of events and I can't even cover all the events. So the problem I have is not a lack of events. I think my problem will be whether I can handle all the events. I'm just going to turn your question around. Yes.
Yeah, well, the question was, just understanding the market.
Yes, sir.
Because you've included in your pro forma $400,000 for events. Just want to make sure that you understand that that is achievable. That's all.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And what I didn't mention here is I already have like 5, because I had too many slides, I took out some slides. I already have up to 5 businesses that are already committed to this. 1 major franchise already committed to this, and some other smaller people who want to be part of this. So I'm not just coming into this as just a proposal. Like I told Dr. Sima during our classes, I'm already talking to would-be tenants that have shown a lot of interest in being part of this.
Thank you so much, Bob. I think we all want to go to an Afro-Caribbean food hub right now. And we all want to go to those parties that Bob goes to. I want to go to events. Judges, are we ready to move on? All right, you all are going to be in for a huge treat to meet Wesley, Amber, and Lamar, the Three Walls Development. All right, the walls.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Purnell. These are my partners, Wesley Hawkins and Amber Jones, and we are Three Walls Development. What is Three Walls Development? Three Walls Development is a minority-owned community development firm founded by Baltimore City natives who are also East Baltimore residents and graduates of the University of Baltimore. Our team consists of Amber Jones, Director of Real Estate Development, Lamar Purnell, Director of Operations and Business Development, and Wesley Hawkins, Director of Strategic Partnership and Outreach. Three Walls Development holds a combined experience of community engagement, real estate development, and business management. So why Three Walls Development? Well, as far as the name, I know some of you are probably wondering, isn't there four walls? Well, Three Walls has several meanings. The first meaning, it refers to the names of the members of Three Walls Development, which is Wesley, Amber, and Lamar. Now I know we're missing the L, but you get the gist of it, right? Secondly, it stands for the many vacant homes in Baltimore City that are missing that fourth wall that stabilizes the home. And lastly, there's a concept in theater that refers to a fourth wall that separates the audience from the performers. However, in our case, the community is the fourth wall. We want to make sure that they are involved in every part of the process, because how can you actually serve a community if you don't know what they want or what they need? So that leads us into our mission and values. Three Walls Development mission is to build a vibrant, sustainable communities by taking a holistic approach to ensure communities have what they need in order to thrive in their community. Three Walls Development core values are collaboration, awareness, respect, and execution. And now, my partner Wesley Hawkins will speak a little bit more about why we chose Broadway East community.
So why Broadway East? We chose Broadway East because every last one of us have a connection to that community. Myself, I lived in that same community. I grew up on those same blocks. My brothers, my sisters, my mother actually owned a home within Broadway East. However, my mother, my siblings, and other people from my community were displaced and a part of the people who were forced out of that community. So I actually made a pledge to not only myself, but my family, my friends, my community, and I said one day I will always come back to this community and I will either be a homeowner or an investor. I decided that I'll keep that commitment. My partner Amber not only works in that community, but Amber's father grew up on that same exact block. He spent the first 12 years of his life on that community, on that same block that we're working on. Now my partner Lamar is only 5 minutes of walking distance. Lamar is the first-time homeowner, the youngest homeowner in his family, and what makes the story even more beautiful, Lamar's grandmother grew up in that same community. So why not Broadway East? So Three Walls Development, our goal is to address 7 out of the 13 strategies identified in the East Baltimore Revitalization Project Master Plan. There should be no reason why there's 915 open vacant building notices. That's not okay. There should be no reason why the median home sale price is $50,000 compared to Baltimore City, which is $208,000. So we actually want to bring that up. So these low prices allow 24% of the home sales within Broadway East to be cash. It's not okay. Imagine living in a community where you raised your kids, you grew up, and somebody offered you $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000. You lived that your whole life. So these are the things that we're trying to actually combat. 35% of the properties are only 35% of the properties are owner occupied. So Three Walls want to actually bring this up. I told you some of the things that we're trying to fight. But there's also some great things within the community that Broadway East serves. If you're looking at food, we're not that far from Northeast Market. We have an awesome store called the Legendary Lifestyle Cafe, which is on East Preston Street. They also offer free Wi-Fi and healthy options. If you talk about the school, if your kids are in elementary school, Henderson Hopkins is right down the street. And if you're a person that's into green spaces and beautification projects, within that same block, at the end of it, we have the Alice Stokes Triangle Park. Now, what is the block that we were talking about? We talked about 2 units, 1753 and 1755 East Preston Street. It's two single-family townhomes, and the zoning is R8. What does that mean? That means means it falls into the actual zoning that the community was built for, housing. So we want to actually do the things to bring those houses back to life. We actually have a commitment and support from the neighborhood association and some of the incentives, because the properties are actually in a national historic district, they qualify for the CHAP tax credit. What does that mean? That means the taxes on those prices, on those homes, will be lower than it would be in other communities. What does that mean for the potential homeowner? That means your mortgage will be lower and you can use that money for other things. The last incentive, before I let my partner Amber speak, is you also qualify for Live Near You Work.
Thank you, Wesley. I'm going to try to speak into it if it's possible. So, you see here our project map, and Wesley mentioned that we have the support of our neighborhood association, our councilman, Robert Stokes, and we also have the support of one of our delegates, Stephanie Smith. And they want us to be able to not just finish these first 2 units, but to continue to move down the block with this exact same program. So what is our approach? We start with community conversations. All these stakeholders here, we want to understand their perspective, and we want to understand what they're already doing so that we can work with them to come up with a win-win scenario for all parties involved. Next, Rebuild Metro is going to utilize state and local grants as well as private dollars to stabilize these houses so that all the structural things are out of the way before we move in. Once they do that, Three Walls Development is going to buy these properties from Rebuild Metro, and then Rebuild has also agreed to provide a 100% seller note for the price of the acquisition. So that way, we can use Baltimore Community Lending's money in order to complete the construction, as well as our own private equity. After we complete these houses, we plan to provide a homebuyer education program thanks to one of our supporters, Hometown Lenders. And we're going to make sure that those homebuyers fall under 120% of AMI, because that will qualify them to receive an incentive. And we've had conversations with Sean at Rebuild Metro, and they've committed to provide up to 50% of their seller note, which is $75,000 per house, in order to support homebuyer incentives. So the homebuyer stays in the house long term because we don't just want investors, we want community members. And those community members, after 10 years, will have their mortgage forgiven. This is the second mortgage that's on their house. And so that way, you have equity that you can use to continue to build opportunity for yourself and your families. We have a great host of partners here who are very experienced and qualified professionals in development, and we're going to do a competitive bid process to complete our team so that we can move forward with a partner who wants to be with us long term. Wesley, who is a part of our team, has a nonprofit that provides workforce development and construction skills training for youth, and they've already completed 13 homes in Baltimore City through this program. Here are our floor plans showing our design concept, and we're currently working on getting the final design, but we want to make sure we can get in a third bedroom because that provides more livable space, but it also creates an opportunity for a home buyer to have additional income by renting out their basement. Here are market comparables showing an average sales price of $255,000. Now this is not the stats that we talked about earlier. These are homes that have actually been completed and renovated, and that price is moving up. Here are our sources and uses. You see here where we've highlighted where your money is going. But we also want you to note that we have $61,000, that's skin in the game, that we're committing to this project, and that we're ready to invest tonight, as soon as we're able to move forward. Here's our project timeline. It's looking like it's going to be about a year for us to get through this, including the starting process of the feasibility and our conversations with Rebuild Metro, which is already well underway. And after tonight, we're going to go to DHCD and apply for additional funds to support our workforce development program. So why should you invest in us? Because if we win, your money goes back in. We have a plan to invest at least 75% of our net earnings into future projects. But we also have a plan that other developers throughout Baltimore City, other communities that have the same problem of vacancy, can follow, because there's no reason that the stats that Wesley provided earlier should exist in an area full of so much opportunity. So we thank you. And after tonight, you can go to our website and learn more about us and figure out how to get in contact with us so that we can move forward together on this concept. But we don't want to end this presentation without thanking some of the people who couldn't join us tonight, but we know are rooting for us, where they are. So this goes out to Trevor White, Henry and Inella
You were the first group that addressed the acquisition question, so I won't ask it. But I did notice that you are trying to get the third bedroom in the basement, but the schematic did not have a closet. Baltimore City rules, you must have a closet for it to be a bedroom, so.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
Since you passed the microphone, I'll say, great job, guys, and the way it flowed. And as a banker, I just want to compliment you on the contingency that you have and the construction interest. That's great. That's all I'm going to say.
And mine, you know, and similar said, great job. Very, very, very well thought. Great teamwork. Like that was very, you know, engaging. Compliment, you know, besides what Sid was talking about, you all putting sort of, as you sort of referred to it, skin in the game. I will tell you that, you know, the passion just kind of exponentially explodes by you all willing to put some of your own money in. It just shows your commitment and your dedication, but also you really believe that it's going to work, which it just really helps an investor or, you know, sort of an audience to really feel it. So great job.
Ditto, excuse me, ditto on that. I had one question. I think key to the affordability of these units is the transaction that you have with Rebuild Metro and the forgiveness of a portion of the acquisition cost. So I want to try to understand that relationship and maybe how the numbers work, because I think the acquisition cost was for the 2 units was $306,000, and I'm assuming that they stabilize the property first and then you go into further improvements, but I don't want to assume. So why don't you share with me how that works, and then a portion of that is going to be will be potential for forgiveness over the life of I guess some period of time. So that allows you to reach the target audience that you talked about in your write-up. So that's what I'm looking for.
Exactly. So thank you for that question. So $150,000 is the max of what we expect for the stabilization and cost. So if it comes down, then it makes it even sweeter. But that $75,000, first of all, I had a conversation with Sean before we presented this, and I said, look, I'm putting it on a slideshow, so everyone's gonna know that that's your commitment. And he said, we're committed to do whatever it takes to make this work, because they want to build this program out and offer it up not just for people like us, but other fellows and people who are interested in development. And so as far as that money, it's grants that they've received from the state that they don't have to repay. And so we're just going to convert that into an incentive for our home buyers to make it more affordable for them and more affordable for us to continue our work.
Sorry, just have one more. Have you researched, when you're dealing with some forgiveness of debt and all the provisions, have you verified and researched that you had mentioned a homeowner could rent a 3rd bedroom? Have you really confirmed that a homeowner can use it as sort of investment, earn income, but also get debt forgiven? That is the only, you know, thing that just sounded a little off to me.
Yeah, so as it pertains to the forgivable note, that particular aspect is something that we discussed with our partner in home buying education, who also is a Fannie Mae and a FHA lender. And so they confirm per their guidelines that our structure will work with their underwriting requirements. But we also know that they have scenarios where they allow for people to live in income-producing homes. So as long as the person is an occupant of the home, then they can use it to produce additional income if they so desire.
Sort of thinking about how this scales, so for the 2 Preston projects, the average cost of these projects is $355,000 in order to make them. And then you said the sale price is in the sort of $250,000 range, and so you make up the gap primarily through that, through the forgivable seller note. Yes. So how scalable do you think that is? Because I think in order to do this effectively, the economics on each individual property, if that works, that makes it a lot easier to just go around the neighborhood and continue to do this. So yeah, I was just wondering if there's is this a type of project that you could scale a similar process in another type of neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're with the neighborhood.
Yeah, and so there are actually quite a few, well, there are a few CDCs in Baltimore City that are pretty strong and that receive a lot of grant dollars. But the challenge that they're having is that the grant dollars aren't enough to cover the full cost of what it takes to build the home. So we're bringing in the rest of that capital, but we're also hoping as we grow that we can become our own general contractor, for example, because that will certainly help with some of our costs. And we're also studying to become realtors so that we won't have the sales commission costs. And so as we grow our program over time, we're hoping to take off some of those other costs so that we can really focus in on just the true cost to construct the homes.
And a part of what we're doing is because we have almost 16,000 vacant properties in the city of Baltimore. So you have to kind of think outside of the box to try to help bring up that medium home sale value. So we're trying to collaborate as much as possible, along with putting our own skin in the game so we can get the projects done.
No, I commend you for finding all the resources available to solve problems. Thank you.
I got one more question. So it looked like based on the photos that you are focused on 1753 and 1755, but based on the photos, 1751 looked like it's vacant. Is that part of your plan to acquire that? Is it vacant?
No.
No, it's not. Okay. Is it? Okay, because on the picture it looks okay.
So we're glad that you brought that up because it is several vacants that's on that street, and when we essentially went to rebuild to try to acquire we wanted to acquire more than 2 properties, essentially like 4 or 6. But they said let's see how you all do with 2. Then hopefully once we get done, when we get done with this 2, then we move on to the other properties as well.
Just word to the wise, nobody wants to buy or rent near a vacant. So,
yeah.
if you're buying near vacant, you got to get all the vacants around.
And that's the problem. So Preston Street is almost already done. It's like 6 left. I actually own and operate and rent out a property on Preston Street as well. So we talking about we have skin in the game. We actually have other properties around there that we're trying to bring up the investment in the community. So we all in.
We want to point out that Rebuild has site control of all the vacants that remain on that block. And so when they're stabilizing these units, they're also going to be stabilizing the rest. So they'll essentially be ready for someone to move in.
That's important though.
Yeah.
One thing I would just caution about on the forgiveness of debt, just sometimes for tax purposes, that's considered income. So then you all of a sudden could have a huge tax bill pop up for that forgiveness. So just make sure you vet that out so that you're not like have a surprise tax bill when you think you're done. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, 3 Wall. Would you guys stay down here? And Thomas and Naquan and Bob, come on up. And let's give all of our fellows an amazing round of applause. You guys did amazing. I think you can see that they are fully supportive of each other. Each of the cohorts have been fully supportive of each other. We want them all to be successful, but we're going to allow the judges to deliberate. All of you can now come outside and join us in the reception area. You guys did an amazing job. We will all chit-chat while we wait for the judges to give us a final verdict. Thank you all. And for live streamers, we're going to shut you down until we come back. Awesome. You guys feeling good?
Thank you, Sam, for everything.
You stand up.
Okay, well, Carla from Neighborhood Design Center. So all those great designs that you saw came from the Neighborhood Design Center. We're gonna make sure Hero is back on live stream. And this is such an exciting moment. Really, all of you are amazing. I'm gonna turn it over to Sean, and he can tell you what the judges came up with.
And before I do that, can we give a round of applause for the judges who had a very, very difficult job today.
Is Sean's mic on? Okay.
And also, since this is the end of the third cohort, I want to let you all know that basically this is my third one, and I've been through most of the sessions with each of the cohorts, and this is just an amazing group of fellows. So thank you all very much. So the judges deliberated hard on this, and essentially they chose a honorable mention runner-up and the winner of the 2023 or 2022 Fellows Program. The first runner-up is Thomas Anderson. The Manumission House. Congratulations. And the winner of the 2022 Fellows Pitch Competition is Three Walls Development.
So why don't Three Walls and come on up. Don't give it up yet, y'all, because I got to tell you how much money they want. Come on up. Join me when we talk about money. Come on up here too, Thomas. So, when this partnership started, I have literally gotten people from around the world telling me that they want to give money to the winners of these pitch competitions. So we don't just have $10,000 to give away. We've got $20,000 to give away. And so for you, Thomas, you will get $5,000 as seed money to your idea. Maybe you can even take that trip to California and go see what they do there and bring it back here to Baltimore. Congratulations. And to Three Walls, you're gonna get $15,000 to get yourself started. What an amazing night. Thank you all for being here. Please join me as we keep moving out. Congratulations to all our fellows. Congratulations to Bob and Naquan. You did an amazing job too. And let's hear it for our next cohort in 2023. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, BCL. Thanks all our judges. I did want to mention that Makita Thompson is here from our second cohort. Tiffany's here. Tiffany sold her property in 2 hours, thanks to Makita, who ended up being her broker. So it's all in the family now. All 3 cohorts, we're all here to support you. Congratulations. Have a great night, everybody.